Good morning, everyone. I'm Sharon Preston-Folta, and welcome to TownTalk Tampa Bay. And we are in a local conversation with Dr. Finolia Idohosa. Good morning, Dr. Idohosa. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And first, let me ask you, how are you and your family doing during this time of the pandemic?
We're doing a lot better. We've learned to be closer with each other. We learned to be more patient. We learned to be more loving because it's been tough, being in a house with kids most of the time when they couldn't go anywhere. But they're adjusting very well right now.
You have young children?
Yes, I do. I have a 2-year-old, a 6-year-old, and an 11-year-old, and all are boys. I laugh because it's a lot of work.
Y- Yeah, and I would imagine a very active household.
Yes, they
I
think they're
was,
invincible.
y- yes, that's part of the nature. I had one son, so one son was times three. So I completely understand, and I'm so happy to hear that you are all doing well and making it through this time and learning lessons as you go, which
Yes.
which is key.
Hmm.
So we're here today because you're running for the Sarasota County Hospital Board, and
Yes.
you're running for a seat on that board. So I wanted to ask you, what makes you uniquely qualified to run for that seat?
Well, I believe my background, I am from Haiti. So I came from a place where people literally are suffering every day and they have practically nothing. I came here, I did not speak English. I was able to go to high school, and I went to college. I have a degree in math and science. I have a degree in pre-med and psych. And then I went to medical school in Mexico. So I was able to also learn another language there. Um, and then I came back to the US and I did my program, worked in a hospital that was multicultural in Brooklyn. They
Hmm.
had everybody there. It was just a very good experience. And then I got married, had children. Then I moved to New York. I moved to Florida, and it's a different culture. I love it very much here. I love it very much, but I felt there was a need for my skill in diversity because the hospital has different people that come in it. And sometimes you need people to understand that the different background, different cultures have different response to treatment. Sometimes a different culture might have a different belief, and I have all that skill. And I also worked in a hospital where I deal with policies and procedures, patient safety, sentinel events. And all these are very important when it comes to running a hospital and having the safety that is required, especially to pass the Joint Commission and other programs that are there. I also worked with setting up new program that has to do with documentation when they were starting to do clinical documentation online. And that is a very important thing because a lot of the time miscommunication with the doctor's notes and the nurses and what the patients say could lead to simple miscommunication and medication errors, or um, an event where a patient might end up wanting to sue. But when you have proper documentation, when it's written properly, when there's no copy and paste, then things flow a lot smoother, and this go and look overall better for the hospital. They get better scores. So I have the background in all this stuff, and I believe I would be able to put my input in if it's required.
Absolutely. So what the activity?
I locked my door and came into the office, and I don't know how he opened it and came inside. This is how life is like.
Of
Oh,
course.
please go. Mommy's doing something. I love you. Can you show me how to use this toy? Accent you. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
No, no worries. It's understandable. But your passion for the medical field has been with you for for it seems like all of your life, and
All
you
my life.
yes, and so you want to bring that to the hospital board. Is that something that you feel is lacking? Because you did mention you came from Brooklyn and the hospital system there, and you came here and you saw it very different. And do you feel that the needs of all communities are not being met the same?
I felt this need for more diversity. That was what pushed me to run. It's not like I don't have anything better to do. I love volunteering. I love helping. And when I looked at the board, and I was just like, but it's not just, there's all kind of people that come to the hospital, so they
Yeah,
need that diversity
and the
to
representation.
understand. Yes, for example, I'll give you an example. I'm from Haiti. In a hospital, a Haitian person might come to the hospital, and you tell them about the treatment. They may not want to do it because they think it's somebody else that's causing their illness, or it's voodoo, or it's something like that. But having that background would say, well, these are the things that need to follow. And in Spanish, I speak Spanish, and so I will be able to understand where they're coming from. There's no Spanish on the board. My husband is African, so I have that background. We have a house in Africa. I travel back and forth, so I have that understanding. Uh, and obviously, I'm African American as well. So I just have this understanding of where a lot of people could be coming from, and I've seen it too. And it's honestly, for example, being in Manhattan and being in a Brooklyn hospital is two different things, but people who work with these different type of people would understand why treatment outcome would be different for than it would be for another patient. Even with medication, we know there's some medication that works for a Caucasian, and it may not work for an African American. And all these things need to be taken into account since we care about our patient safety. And I know the majority of people in this area is really more of one type, but it's changing. The
Mm,
people are moving from different places to be here because they're loving it. To me, it's like a discovered secret. It's a beautiful place, and I know more people are coming in. So we need to have that understanding that these people that are coming here as well, they are represented as well. And obviously the hospital's been doing very good. I'm not um coming to say, oh, they're not doing a good job. They're doing a wonderful job. It's just, I believe they need to be a little bit more diverse. And every study will tell you diversity does bring change. And it's not a bad change, it's a good change.
absolutely. And so being on
How
the
does this
board
controller work?
and helping to set the policy that would bring more diversity in is something that you're looking to do.
Yes,
Yes. So,
that's Andrew.
what are the three most important issues confronting this office?
Sorry, say that again.
Sure. What do you feel are the three most important issues confronting this office, and how do you propose to handle these issues?
Patient safety is important. The COVID, and obviously the problem with funding, but
Mhm.
the hospital has very good philanthropy program. So going after funding would be a very important thing that I would be working toward. And also the patient safety. It's communication with the doctors, communication with the nurses, everybody involved in patient care. Is It would be an important thing to communicate with. And then with COVID, again, it goes back to safety. Using proper equipment, communication again, and making sure people are washing their hands. A simple hand washing literally changed things. But I was part of a program in the hospital where I worked. I used to go to the rooms and watch the doctors, watch the people that go in the room, and see how often they would do the thing that is required, which is washing their hands, or if they put a glove on, what they do after. And it was surprising. A lot of the time, people would just run from one room to another, and they don't always wash their hands. But it's so simple, a simple infection. And these are called hospital acquired infections that can be prevented by using proper precaution methods. So these things are very important. And then obviously there's a lot of other things. You know, the environment is changing. What can we do to keep that going? You know, how do we discharge or get rid of materials that are accumulated within the hospital? So a lot of things are important, but my top three would be patient safety, COVID, along with the flu that's coming as well, and proper equipments and communication among the doctors and the staff, everybody.
Yeah, so these are three areas that you would like to bring to the attention of the
Yes.
board and make changes in. And you mentioned fundraising. So just expound a little bit on that for the hospital. Is there a need, a lack of funding, or you just feel that that's an area that could grow?
Well, that's an area that can grow because when COVID happened, actually, because they had to cut off some of their staff, they had to close some specialty programs,
Yes.
and they lost a lot of funding that way. So now things are coming back slowly but surely. So there's always need for more funding because, you know, there are people who cannot always pay for their treatment, and it's a hospital that takes everybody no matter what the situation is. So it always need the continuous funding. So with fundraising and grant writing, there are ways to get funding to continue the great service that it's doing.
Right. Yes. A lot of services just had to be stopped completely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a huge loss of revenue.
Yeah.
So, if elected, how would you handle um, the projected budget shortfalls?
Again, it goes back with the funding, doing more outreach, coming up with programs to help people pay for their care,
Could you give me an
and
example of a program?
well, having like a fundraiser where you would have the big philanthropic donors to donate more. Because you know, over here there are some people with some nice money that they can donate. And so when we give them the incentives and having program to invite them in and giving them a reason why they need to donate, then we'll get more donation. And there's also now government programs that are available. We just have to learn how to apply for them. And I know they have people that do that, to apply for some of those grants out there to add to the program.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay, and I just wanted to go back and talk a little bit more about diversity in the workplace.
Okay.
Because things are changing, and I've looked at stabs all over, and I can say that in this area, we are moving towards more diverse staffs. Maybe when I moved here a little over 15 years ago, not so much, but the area is moving towards, more inclusion.
Right.
So, how do you propose, or just some ideas of increasing the diversity in the hospital?
Well, we have to advertise where minorities and other diverse people can see that the jobs are available. Because if
Mhm.
people don't know if there's jobs available, they won't apply for them. But like, for example, I live in a town upstate in New York at some point, um, where they they give great incentives to the people applying. So doctors would come from all the way from other states to come because, hey, when they come, they have a house program they could get. They have a little bit more money extra they give them. So there are incentives that will get people to come. And if they know, hey, there's a good school system here, when my children come, they'll be at peace. There's safety. People will come, but we have to let them know that those jobs are available. So that means we got to put them in roster areas where, when you send, like when you post a job, it's on
Yeah.
Indeed, it's on different places, but they know where they have to post it so that it could get to the people that are looking.
Do you feel that just having it on just out there as jobs necessary is not enough to attract my talent from minority communities?
Well, I think some minorities probably feel like, oh, they can come here because there's no minorities here. Because, for
Mhm.
example, when I was coming down here, I was kind of warned, oh, wait a minute. Especially, I live in Venice and it's 0.98% Black. So I knew that it wasn't, they didn't have a lot, but I wasn't afraid. Some people might be like, well, since there's not much diversity, I'm not coming. But if they know, hey, when I come here, everybody are so nice and loving, it's nice to live here. I love it. Everybody, I don't know, it's because of how I think. I've never attracted a negative person. Everybody has been so kind and loving toward me. And I'm like, this is the best place ever because people are so nice. But another thing that makes this place so nice, even though there's no diversity, almost most of the people that live here, they came from somewhere else. They from Ohio, Florida, New Jersey, New York, everywhere, Washington. So they've been exposed to a lot of different people as well. So they know, oh, just because she's, like a Black person, she's still a normal human being like everybody else. And that's the treatment that I've been getting since I got here. So I don't think any minority should feel afraid to come here. The people are very open, and even at the hospital too. I'm a volunteer at the Venice Hospital, and I haven't, there were not too many minorities there, but everybody that's there, they're so loving. So I feel like I'm at home. I don't see color, you know.
But yeah,
So
but
even though they're bringing minorities, the people have to be coming because of their skill sets as well, because we want good workers.
okay. Hey, handsome, how are you?
Hi.
Hi, sweetie. So, there need to be good workers, and there needs to be an outreach saying welcome. Because
Yes.
you're absolutely right. Coming into different communities, and especially communities where there's not a big minority population, people may not feel welcomed or comfortable in those situations.
Right,
But
right,
but they won't know that until there's a message saying that. So
right.
reaching out in media that speaks directly to those communities lets them
Yes.
know you're invited in. And
Mm-hmm.
that's true of all situations. If you want a certain audience, you need to invite them. You need to let them know that they are welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Do you also feel that a lot of the positions, uh, a lot of minorities aren't training for the open positions, or it's more the message of welcome, being welcomed?
For example, even this position here, let me show you. I have the little book, okay? This is what it was, that's what the board is,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Most minorities might look at it and feel intimidated to even run because it's like, hey, you don't even have a chance. But for me, when I looked at it, I was like, okay, I know I need to try it because something might I might get a chance, even though I don't have the finances, I don't have the all the stuff that they have, but I know my work ethic, I know my abilities, I know my passion. That's why I said I'm gonna run. But most people say, why? There's no minorities on there. Why? You see why somebody might not even bother running. I know I'm not like the first um Black person in town, but they
No,
they probably don't run because they feel like
it's
that's
it's
a mindset type of thing. But I'm
yeah.
not letting it stop me. Now it's a fair chance. I'm giving it a try, and if it doesn't happen, I will be okay with it. But this is what we all need to do as minorities. We also have to apply for those high positions. We also have to apply for the CEO jobs. We have to apply. That's basically what I have to say. There are a ton of jobs out there, but because we feel like we may not get the push we need, we don't apply for them.
So it's you feel that the training is there. There are plenty minorities for all of these great jobs.
Yes.
And it truly is the messaging. The training, you don't have to work on training programs, bringing people in to making sure that they have the skills. The skills are there. They're
Yes.
just operating in other places. And the opportunity is really to diversify, to speak to them, to bring them here, to address the needs of incoming populations that are
Right.
coming into the area.
Right.
So, but you are a person that runs to a challenge. Not everybody runs to a challenge.
I think it's that passion. I came from this little mountain in Haiti, and I went through a lot, and I just felt like I have so much to do, so much to give. Time is short. I always say I can die at any moment. I live in the present, but my vision is so big that people think I'm living in the cloud. I really want to get to a level where I can go back and help in Haiti. Literacy is still a very big problem. My parents don't read and write, so for me education was so big. That's why I was like, I have to learn as much as I can. I had a choice. When I came to America, I didn't speak English. I could have worked in a factory and stay there.
Yeah.
And I started while I was even in high school. I started working in a factory, and I was like, within a short time, I was actually I got to be a person that was training the other people because of my work ethic. And then while I'm in college, I was working. So it's just a step process that I had to take, because I know I had to be better and show my parents that they are okay. Just because they can't read and write, I can. That means they can. And when I look at my mom till this day, she said something that so sad. She said, this was just the other day. She said, everybody are shopping online. Relax, my love, relax.
I want money.
But she can't. So if she needs something, and this is what's happening with this world, this, people are not going to stores anymore. But my mom said, I can't even find what I need. Everything is online, and I can't even go online to buy the stuff that I need. That hurts my heart. When I know there are so many kids in Haiti that still cannot read and write, and this is how the world is. The world has changed. Everything is, you have to be able to read to do them. And
Yeah.
more than 46% of the population still can't read and write. So this is why I always work my best to do as much as I can and be the voice. So one day I'll be able to go back and help provide programs and things like that. And I do, our family have an organization, non-for-profit in our town. We teach boxing. I used to help teach some of the kids dancing. We teach boxing. We have other programs. Because we believe that, and this is my belief, if you help a child from the age of 3 to about 15, you literally change their world. When you try to take somebody that's in their 20s and try to get them to learn, they already have their mindset and what they want to do. So it's the same thing for our children here. We want our children to have the mindset that they can do everything that is within them. We all have whatever we need within us to actually succeed in this planet, but we kind of need to have it put into us to say, okay, we're not programmed to think that we cannot apply for this job. We're not programmed to think that this is not within our level. Because I know all of us, with proper training, proper attitude, and a will and persistent to do, we all can do. So, but we also need to have people giving us a chance. Somebody said to me once, you are like a cloud hitting behind a star. With a little push, boop, you'll be shining. That's what all of our people need as well, the
Yes,
chance.
absolutely. Well, your drive is infectious, and your attitude, and your smile, will bring people in, continue to bring people in. And I applaud you for just stepping out, taking the experience that you have, taking the passion that you have and love for people, and for people systems to serve people, and wanting to bring that to the hospital board and to diversify it and to have them make sure that they're listening and hearing different voices. So I thank you for, stepping up to the plate and running for this seat. So in the few minutes that we have left, just remind people why they should vote for you.
Well, voting for me would mean a voice for other people that don't have a voice, for diversity, minority, Spanish speaking people, Haitian, African, everybody, because I feel like I am all those as well, because I've been to all the countries and been around all those type of people. I know that we all are one, and it's true. Energy does not, get destroyed. We all are one. But since society has placed the title of diversity, we have to deal with it. And it's around us. And I believe that I deserve a chance just like everybody else. And signing up, I would do the work that is required, which is putting patients first, safety, dealing with COVID and the flu, and all the other problems that are going on. Communication among the doctors, providing the proper equipments for them to work, and also coming up with ways to decrease turnovers as well. I'm so sorry. My door was locked, but my son found ways to open it, and he tried everything to push my button while I was talking. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're fine. And you know what? It just adds to who you are. Grace under fire.
Yes.
Absolutely, grace under fire.
Thank
We
you.
are, at the end, and I just thank you for taking the time. Yeah, you're gonna have your mommy back in just a few minutes, sweetie. I want to
This is
thank you.
another the multitasking. Mommy's the
Yes,
multitasking.
absolutely. Well, again, thank you. And no matter how this race comes out, I know that it's not going to stop you from being out in the community and advocating for everything you're running for.
Thank you.
I know that about you.
Yes, I will
So,
continue to help. Mother Teresa said, "You help, they say you don't help. Continue to help and continue to love no matter what."
okay. Well, Dr. Finolia Idohosa, thank you so much for being my guest today on Town Talk Tampa Bay
You're
here on
welcome. It was a
WSLR.
pleasure. It was a pleasure being with you.
Thank you.
Have
And
a good day.
good luck.
Thank you.